Thank you, Aida, District 114's Administration Manager, for making the time to reflect on the moments of truth of membership orientation. But before we start that, please tell us a bit about your Toastmasters journey.
Okay, thank you, PQD, PT, and Robert Karanja for inviting me. My journey at Toastmasters, I believe that it's quite very short. I joined back in 2014, so I'm still racing to work for the excellence. I joined as a Jupiter Toastmaster member by being invited by one of my old colleagues. So it was so interesting, so fun when I first attended the session. This was all-time famous Toastmaster Yosef Fantu making a presentation. So I said I wanted to be like him, and the presentation was evaluated by DTM Magdala, and he says, "Wow, they can find a fault on such kind of a speech." Then I was so amazed. So right on the spot, I got a member. So that's how I joined the Toastmaster. But after that, I tried eagerly to take up a different role. You know, in Jupiter, we always have a lot of members. So it was always difficult to find a spot. But I always were there as a hot seat, trying to figure out and trying to fit in into the club because I was not that, I did not have that much social skills that I had now. I believe that it all came through a Toastmasters. So that's one of the things that I'm very grateful of. So after sometimes, due to the job scheduling, I was not able to become an active member. But when I came back after a year, I received a very warm welcoming. So Toastmaster is always like a positive vibe that people will understand whatever you're going through because at some point in their life they have already went through it. So they just accepted me with a welcome, and I dived into working on the old legacy of the CC manual. So I successfully completed the CC manual by competing with one of the all-time famous Toastmasters, Saila Mondri, and I had a very good time participating in all Toastmasters Club that gave me an opportunity to take a lot of roles. You know, whenever you take a role, you always get to be better on it. So finally, I ended up as an area directors and division directors, and this year, proudly serving the district as admin manager.
Absolutely. I love that. Maybe one day a club needs to be formed and the tagline should be positive vibes, because absolutely, that is one of the most an important thing about a Toastmasters club, that positivity in your interaction with other people. And I do understand if I was to see Yosef Fantu delivering a speech and I was not a member, I would likely join as well. Thank you so much for giving us that overview. And let us go down through the items that make up the membership orientation and just hear your thoughts. So the first item in membership orientation is formal induction, including presentation of membership pin and manuals. So here, maybe we could talk about what does a formal induction look like at a club and what kind of message does it send to the guests who are attending?
A membership induction is specifically, we work on it very professionally. Once they sign up, we tell them what you will benefit out of a Toastmasters. We tell them what are the steps, the most common step being used in a Toastmasters to actually excel on those skills that you already have, because we also value that we already have brought, and the skills that you also look forward in developing. So that induction is all about not only the introduction about Toastmasters, but it's also a detailed progress of the step one to step two up to the excellence steps for any member to go through. And it always is hosted separately from the regular session because it's about giving attention for the new ones, for the new babies that we call them. So giving an attention and giving them an opportunity to speak freely because they are all at the same level. So that is what a membership induction is all about.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, so it is an in-depth time that you spend with a new member where you get them familiar with the different aspects of Toastmasters to get them to feel at home in a Toastmasters club. Then the next item in this Moments of Truth is assignment of mentor. Why does mentorship matter to guests, and how can we demonstrate in a club meeting that mentorship actually works in Toastmasters?
Okay, membership mentoring is something that I don't see being mentioned in all of the club sessions, but it's always being introduced while there is an informal communication due to the tea break or any other explanations about introduction in a Toastmasters. But the membership part is the mentoring part is the most important one, as I believe, because it shows you the ABC up to Z, the ways that you will go, and it always gives you a freedom to call that person your mentor and ask him an opinion before you even present your speech out on the spot, out in the air, because everyone of us have this shaking moments before we present. So that mentor will break the ice for you because you will be presenting in front of that person. So the membership mentoring, I believe it should be mentioned more oftenly into a regular sessions, but I don't see it happening.
Great, absolutely. I do like that idea that a lot of people are uncertain about their journey in Toastmasters, how it is going to progress. They are afraid. And so having someone who is going to hold their hand through the journey might be convincing for them to join the club. And it might be something that actually persuades them and gives them that confidence to become a member of that club. And absolutely, I agree with you. It needs to be talked about more during the meetings and also during our interaction with the guests that come to Toastmasters. Then the other part of this Moments of Truth is education program and recognition system discussed. Where during a meeting can guests be given a clear idea of how our education program works?
Okay, how the education program works should be clearly stated by the MC or the Toastmaster of the evening, I believe. Sharing the whole curriculums, sharing what role has a value in each educational progress should be stated as a general information as basically as a start or while introducing the evaluators of every speech. So I believe that those steps shared by the ANC specifically will divide or will share the time used the by the speech evaluator, because the speech evaluator has a very short time being sharing the objectives, the titles, and a bit about motivation about the speaker. But the overall transcript should be shared by the MC or the Toastmasters of the evening. That's how we usually do it in my home club, Jupiter Toastmasters.
Oh, fantastic. And so just to make it clear, so the MC or the Toastmaster of the day talks about the Toastmasters education program, and then in general terms, then each of the evaluators comes in and adds a bit of detail to that, so that by the time all the speakers have spoken, a guest will understand how the education program in Toastmasters actually works. Then the next part is learning needs are assessed. How do you start the conversation about learning needs even before a guest becomes a member? How do you start talking to them about their learning needs?
I think that is the most easiest part to identify. After a great presentation or any other roles being presented, you just ask, which one is your favorite one? Which skills do you actually want to progress on? Those kind of question will energize or will initiate the guest to continue the speech on, because he will be comparing himself from that person who was presenting previously, especially if it's on the tea break while you're having a coffee or having a refreshment. You will be able to identify and recap what you have already seen. And it's also testing whether that guest has been listening to the sessions, whether he was amazed or not, by specifically asking which content of the table topic did you did you actually enjoy? What would you have answered for that table topic? So that will initiate and warm up the guests to speak to you frankly and directly. And they will just say that I want to work on this one because I would have been shaking, or I would have lost some words, I would have no expression. So they will just come up and say it. So I believe that's the most easiest part.
That is absolutely brilliant. Using the meeting, what is going on during the meeting, to start conversations with the guests, the conversations that go deeper than they will be if you're just talking in theoretical terms. I think getting them to just think about what exactly is happening and what kind of areas they would like to improve. That is absolutely brilliant. Then there is discussed accommodations for members with disabilities. How can a club demonstrate that it is open to a diverse group of people?
Wow, that's going to be a bit challenging because when we talk about disabilities, of course, there are a lot of kind of disabilities, but we need to make it clear that they are always welcome, especially in the accessibility of a physical venue.
Right.
How is it? Where is it? Whether they, whether Toastmasters always welcome people with disabilities, those should be shared. And I'm gonna be honest, I have never seen any poster with that motivates or initiates Toastmaster members to, or guests to initiate them to become a members. But
Right.
I believe that it should be one of the PR projects.
Right. Absolutely. I also confess that I've never seen it being highlighted. I've never seen it being demonstrated in the posters. And I think it's definitely something that we as Toastmasters clubs can adopt if we want to demonstrate that we are a safe place where anybody can come and develop as public speakers and as leaders. Then the second last question is speaking roles assigned. So, and here is, how does a clear way of assigning speaking roles in a club give confidence to guests that they can grow? So having that clear way of assigning speaking roles in a club, how can it give confidence to the guests?
Well, guests, oh, from what I have seen, they don't like to ask any questions. They just
Right.
want to stay behind the scene and listen. So it's all about the MC or the Toastmaster of the day to share how the agenda is prepared. And most of the agendas that I see is the Vice President of Education sharing about the agenda changes rather than how the roles are being taken. But
Right.
the one thing that I always like is at the end of every session, the Vice President of Education will always ask, who would like to take up a role for the next
Right.
sessions? So that opens up an opportunity for anyone to sign up. So that is a spot for the guests to understand that whenever roles are being given, they are being given voluntarily. The
Right.
spot for everyone's being treated equally. So the
Right.
last portion where the Vice President of Education announces about the next session is the perfect part.
That is another amazing insight. Even when I was coming up with the question, I really didn't and know the answer. But there, that final part where the VPE is calling on the rules, it can demonstrate that it is by you volunteer, nobody is going to force you to do anything, and that it is fair to anyone to take up a role. I think that sends a very clear message that this is a fair place. This is a place where we won't push you unnecessarily. We won't coerce you to do things that you do not want to do or you do not feel ready to do. So the final question is, members are involved in all aspects of club activities. What does involving members, what does it mean to involve members in all club activities?
Okay. Uh, Involvement of all members start from the minute that the sessions is being hosted. For most of the physical meeting that I've attended, whenever you arrive early, you're being given a task and the guests are witnesses. whenever there's a guest lecturer, please share information about Toastmasters, share about your journey on Toastmasters. That's how it always being assigned for every member who showed up early. So for guests, they will receive that any member as an ambassador for that club or for a Toastmasters. So they will be very happy to hear you out. So from the start of the session and during the break or at the end, especially when there is someone who's no show, some members unfortunately might not be able to make it for any session, or even if it's virtual, they might have some disconnection. So members will be called up and they will just take a role on the spot. So on that situation, being appreciated by the meeting chair, that the assignment is being given on the spot, that shows that every member is always ready to act and take up any role. So as a member, when you see that, especially as a new member, when you see that, witness that, you will understand that whenever someone fails, there will be a replacement by a member, and it's one of your duties to serve your club or any club that you've been attending.
What an amazing way to conclude this. That encouraging officers, don't do everything by yourself. Involve other people in setting up the meeting, involve other people in running the meeting. And that is a clear message that you send to new members, that here everybody pitches in, we all help each other to make this an amazing place. Thank you so much for those insights that you've shared with us, and quite a lot for us to take away, and quite a lot for us to reflect about how we can use the meetings to help people get familiar with our education program, help them feel welcomed at Toastmasters, and show them the culture of a Toastmasters club. Thank you so much, District Administration Manager Aiyda.
Thank you for having me here, Program Quality Director, DTM, Robert Karaj. Thank you.